Hi, we're back with another episode of the Property Management Life podcast. Again with Greg Daring and Eric Weatherington. Eric, how are you doing today?
Greg, I'm doing great. Hope things are good there in Texas.
Yeah, they're always good in Texas. So today we're going to talk about some of the economic aspects of what's going on in as we start off 2023 in the property management and the real estate industry, and just a lot of things up in the air right now, and people are planning, trying to forecast what's getting ready to happen this next year as we start to build our companies and be proactive as we continue to build prosperous and good good property management companies that serve the needs of both of our owners and our tenants. So, what's your comments today, Eric, on your thoughts as we enter the new year?
Well, there's a lot going on, of course, and everybody talks about is there going to be a recession, or are we already in a recession, or are we going to avoid a recession, and all these things. I wish I had the answer to that question for sure, but regardless of that, obviously with interest rates that have increased dramatically over the last 6 8 months, and the home sales coming to a screeching halt in most markets across the country, things are looking very positive for property management. That's one of the things I love about this business, Greg, is it's very resilient. When the economy is struggling, the property management business is booming.
Yes, yes, and I think we've seen that as several cycles of our career so far, where some of our fellow realtors are really feeling the pinch. We're saddling up, buckling down, and getting ready for great growth opportunities. So it's going to be a pretty exciting new year, or 2023, as we move forward, because I'm looking forward and very optimistic about the growth opportunities in property management. But and a lot of this is on a regional basis where it takes place, don't you think?
Well, I mean, I think nationally, certainly, we're seeing a clear trend that nationally sales are down significantly, and that always helps property management. Regionally, I think, regionally, there's definitely pockets where we're seeing better outcomes or better results, and some pockets that are still, normal or average markets. But, overall, people are not selling their houses. They're looking to keep properties as investments and rent them. Uh, and again, if you look at all the economic indicators, and it just depends on who you follow as to what number they want to use. But home prices are certainly not going to be going up 20% this year. And in some cases, in some markets, they may actually come down, a point or two. In other markets, they'll probably go up a couple of points, just as normal. But it's going to be a great 2023 is going to be a great year for property management. That I'm sure of.
I agree. I agree. And I know you have a real robust economy for the most part in your area in Charleston, and we do in Austin. I know we both have friends in several areas, like Nashville. The growth is continuing, and a lot of that is not necessarily an indicator of the economy but it's more of an indicator of we're seeing a migration from some states to other states. So even if the economy gets stronger or weakens, I think some of these population centers are going to continue to grow no matter which way we're going there. So I know that's what it is in Austin right now. We're just continue to have migration into the city.
I mean, Greg, I was reading an article just this week that from someone who was a migrant to America, and lived in New York City, and that was the dream and everything else. And just over the last couple of years, with all the crazy regulations and all the different things that they couldn't do, their kids couldn't do, that they just finally got fed up with it, and they moved to a different state. And they were just like, you know we love living in a state where we can have the freedom to walk outside, and we don't have to, our kids can, go to school, and they can do all these things. And I think there still is a strong migration flow to places like Nashville, like Austin, like Florida, like you know Alabama,
Hmm.
South Carolina, North Carolina, a lot of these states are seeing still a big influx of people, and that's going to continue, I think, for the foreseeable future.
I agree. I agree. In our local area here, Tesla just opened up. We have Samsung coming. It's just continued growth, and we're seeing more and more uh, companies go from a less favorable business climate to a more favorable business climate with regulation. So, what do you think's going to, if you were, and you are in property management, but if you were starting out right now, how would you be looking at this when maybe you're coming from a real estate background and some of your friends are speaking fear because of what's going on, but you're in property management. How would you look at this, and what would you be preparing for?
Well, I mean, the thing right now that, is marketing is getting your name out there and, feet on the street, getting out there, talking to realtors, talking to other sources of referrals that connect you with investor clients, because the investors are out there and they're not selling properties now like they were, a couple of years ago. And they're looking for help with their property management. I mean, I'm seeing that across the board and
Mhm.
in companies all over the country that are seeing an influx in leads coming in, and so handling those leads well, first of all, and then making sure that you're doing enough outbound marketing efforts to generate leads. This is the time to grow. 2023 is the time to grow your portfolio, and so capitalizing on that with great marketing, great sales efforts, great way make sure you don't lose any leads, and then making sure that internally you're offering great service to those people that you're attracting and that are new to your company, so that they stay for a long time.
Right, right. I, I I remember, 2007, 2008, and my company was pretty new at that time. Just beating the bushes, being out there and meeting more and more realtors and trying to offer assistance to them. I wish, in hindsight, I would have done it even more. But the focus was our growth over the next 18 to 24 months after that cycle was phenomenal. It's probably the biggest single growth period we've had, and that's where we're at. But the key, I think, is what you said was meeting people, being out there, but building your company to serve. That's going to be the key.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good if you're bringing a bunch of people in the front door and half of them are leaving out the back door because they're not happy with the service. So it really does take that two-pronged approach. What are you doing inside the office to keep your team motivated to provide not just great service, but to take that next step and be exceptional in what they're doing. And and then what are you doing to get those folks to come in the door?
Right, right. I don't know about what your experience is, but I would wager to think it was pretty similar to ours. We had a lot of reluctant landlords at that time who were coming on board, and a big majority of them, a large percentage, said, "Well, when the economy gets better, we're going to sell the house and leave." And that did happen, but it was amazing if you provide good service, how many of them after 18 months, 2 years, or 3 years said, well, this is working pretty good, and our life's gone on, and they now not become or switch from a reluctant landlord to an intentional landlord, and we have a lot of those clients still with us today, and some have built and expanded their portfolio since then.
Well, Greg, you bring up a great point, which I think has been, something that we've struggled with in single family property management for a long time, is we don't do a good enough job, I think, spending time educating people on why rental real estate is a good investment and why
Mhm.
it's something they should hang on to in their portfolio. You know, we kind of get people that already know that truth, and so they hire us, or we get people like you said that are accidental, kind of fall into this. Maybe they inherit a property, or maybe they have to move right away and they can't sell a property, and so they ask us to manage it for a while. But how much time do we spend with our owners talking to them about what their return on investment is, and what the tax benefits are, and what the other benefits are to owning real estate, and helping them really make good decisions about whether it's time for them to sell a property or whether they should continue to hold that for a while. I look really at our job. I mean, we're really an asset manager, and I think
Yes.
we should really frame ourselves and think ourselves in that way. We should be working in conjunction with their tax advisor and with their legal team and their
Hmm.
financial advisor to,
Right.
help our owner clients make good decisions.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said that. Just this morning, I was watching a Kiyosaki little video for a few minutes while I was just getting ready for work, and he was talking about building a team. That's exactly his topic this morning, was how you build wealth is by building a team, and it's not just having a CPA. It's having the full thing: a banker, a property manager, an asset manager, and I think that's a real good topic that. Uh, and it's a great way to build wealth. And I wish I would have started it much earlier in my career. I think I'd be in a different situation now if I had started that. So, and it's a lot of us just giving and getting education.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, it's, hopefully we learn from our own life's lessons. Obviously, there's a lot of lessons in life that we would be benefited by learning from other people's mistakes, and hopefully we can tap into that as well and not have to, repeat mistakes of others. It's a lot easier to learn from other people's trials and errors than to learn
Yes.
from your own and make them yourself. But sometimes the ones that we make ourselves are the ones that have the biggest impact and the biggest motivation and change in our lives. But you know, eh, the economy is tough, and in property management, we have the opportunity to provide housing for people in when they're in between situations or they can't afford to buy a house. I mean, goodness, house prices have gone up so much in a lot of markets in the last 2 years. There's a lot of folks that can't afford to buy a house,
Right.
and they need to rent. They need a place to live, and so we have that opportunity to offer them that. And then I mean, look at how the stock market performed last year. Uh, you know, investment real estate is didn't lose 25% last year like most everybody's stock portfolios did. So there's a lot of things, a lot of good that we can do with our investor clients headed into 2023 and beyond. So, property management is a great business. It's a great place to be. And, a lot of people that we can be helping along the way.
I agree. I agree. Just been so fortunate to have this as a career. Uh, but as you mentioned, real estate investing is a great way to build wealth, and it's a great way to not have all your eggs in one basket. Because again, this morning I was looking at the projections for what Amazon, Facebook, and a lot of these big high tech companies are going to be doing this next year. And obviously, they're going to be around, but they're going to go through some adjustments, both with employment plus some of their numbers. I mean, the numbers some of these companies have been throwing off lately are pretty frightening. And unless you're a large company, some of them would not survive.
Yeah, I mean, I think Amazon's getting ready to lay off 18,000 people from their workforce, and
Hmm.
whether it's Salesforce or whether it was on and on, we could just name companies over the
Right.
last 3 months. There's been a ton of layoffs, and thousands and thousands of people being laid off, and so again, those are folks that need a place to live, that need help and support that we can give as property managers, along the way through these difficult times. And I think it's you know, that bodes well for our business, bodes well for our industry, and it gives us an opportunity to help a lot of people along the way.
It really does. It really does. And just following up on your point, when a lot of as some of these layoffs occur, there will be new opportunities for some of these people, and that might mean migration. So they'll move from San Francisco to Nashville, and as we've all seen, and you and I are a little older here, a little more experienced, that some of these things that look like setbacks can be tremendous opportunities to take you to the next level with your career. So then, it's not all negative at all. It's change is good for a lot of times.
Yeah, Greg, thanks for reminding me that I turned a year older since we did our last podcast.
Well, it's my belated way of saying happy birthday. So that's good. That's
So,
good.
And I'll throw in here, something that, and one of the reasons why we started, Renters Insurance Solutions was to help people make it more affordable to get into housing, and provide residents, alternative options to move in, that didn't, so they didn't have to come up with so much money at move in. And I mean, I was running the numbers, last night, Greg, and I mean, we saved residents, $1.1 million last year in money that they normally would have had to put up in security deposits, uh, through our security deposit replacement program. And so, that's meaningful money, meaningful help that people realized, they didn't have to put that money up front for that full security deposit. They could just pay a small monthly fee and have that security deposit replacement in place. So, that's how we can help people, and we can help
Yes.
property managers, and we can help, residents during these challenging financial times. So I was excited to see that number, and excited to see that grow as we continue to help more and more people.
I agree. I like that, and that's what makes me excited about this. Also, the insurance aspect of what we're doing, that we do help people. You just recently we had an experience where an owner, for because of their background and what they'd experienced before, needed a higher security deposit, and by being able to offer that, we leased that property faster because we had an alternative there. And as things, and I have three adult children that are all renting right now, and we know the cost of what it takes to move from one place to another, and the high cost of that. And if somebody has student loans or children in daycare, and they're still paying, $5 for a gallon of milk, I mean, these things are adding up, and the people are feeling a pinch right now. So it's a good solution for the times.
Well, you look at how much rents have gone up in the last, 2 years, really, since
Gosh,
the pandemic.
yeah,
Rents have gone up significantly across the board in almost
yes,
every market. And, every time that rent goes up, the cost to move increases, right along with it. And
yes,
so, when you move to a new rental, and you have to come up with the first month's rent, plus you have to come up with a full month for security deposit or more in some cases, plus, other move-in costs, and then your utility connection costs, and then, pay for your other moving expenses. It's, five to $10,000
yeah,
to move into an average rental property. And that's a lot of cash that people just don't have, and especially headed into a difficult time where gas prices are up, food prices are up, everything is up. And now, it's going to cost me $5,000 or $10,000 to move into a new rental property. So
yes.
anything that a property manager can do to help reduce that cost, I think is something that tenants are going to be looking for, and tenants are going to be, excited to know about and learn about. And that's where, a security deposit replacement program certainly can come into play. So, again, another great way for property managers to help people and to bring value to everybody that's involved.
That's great. No, I agree. That's agreed. I mean, I think we'll see that play out more and more each month as we go into this year, and what is just uncertainty right now with the economy. I don't think we're going to see 2008 again, but we have some uncertainty. But what's different now is we have a higher interest rate and a higher inflation rate, so it's a game changer. But
Right.
anything
Right.
else as we
So
go?
what are
I'm
some
sorry.
things? So let's talk about some things. Let's talk about some things, Greg, specifically that a property management company can do to grow their business. What are some things that you've seen over the years that you guys have done to increase the amount of leads coming in the door, and also to close on those leads?
Well, that's an interesting question, Eric. As we've gone back and looked at that, it was not spend a lot of money. We did not spend a lot of money at all. We spent some time. I had more time when I was starting out than I did money, and but we targeted several small brokerages, and met with the lead, the designated broker, talked to them, him or her, and said, where are you having issues? And a lot of the sales companies don't want to do leasing but they allow it. So they were having issues on that, and no one wanted to focus. So we said, well, what are the five, two or three or five big issues that you're seeing? And we developed a little lunch and learn, or several lunch and learns, and we would go in and offer that. And what would happen, and we were very fortunate, the broker or the broker's assistant would sit in on that and go, okay, this was pretty good. Let's take it and do two more of a different topic. And so we would start coming in, and then we became the preferred, as you would say, the preferred management company that people would offer to. But it's like that old Zig Ziglar thing, you know. The more people you help, the more you'll grow. And we just went in, not necessarily with a growth mindset of just we wanted to help. We wanted to make the industry better. We wanted to make the local brokerages more profitable and not frustrated with the leases that are out there. So that was one of the biggest things we did. And then we just went back and just started talking about, we're not going to take your property when it's time to sell. And there's different theories of that, but that's what we did. How about yourself?
Greg, that's what I think real estate agents and real estate brokerage firms are one of the largest untapped opportunities for property management companies all over.
Hmm.
They there's real estate companies in every market.
Yep.
In most states, you have to have some kind of a license of property management or a real estate license to do property management.
Hmm.
And so you've got these company owners, these brokers out there. They're scared to death of property management because they don't know all the rules and regulations. They know their agents, legally can do it, but they don't know how to coach them or train them or teach them how to do it properly or anything. So if I'm a property manager and I know all the rules and laws, and I can go to a broker and say, hey, let me help train your agents. Let me do lunch and learn. Let me teach a CE class. If I put together a CE class on property management and teach that, in your office or whatever those kind of things are, you can come alongside and help that broker. And exactly, you prove value and provide value to them. They and their agents will in turn, reward you with referrals. And that's absolutely been my experience as well, and been one of the primary referral sources, that we used over the years was, real estate agents who, didn't want to do property management or couldn't do property management, but they had clients that needed help, and
Yes.
and they referred them to us. We took great care of those clients and then gave them back to the real estate agent, years down the road when they wanted to sell.
Hmm. Yeah. But, and it's again, it's helping people. So when we would teach, we would say, we know you have do-it-yourself owners. If instead of you practicing property management because you want to help, refer them off to us. We don't have to manage their properties, and on certain things, we'll walk them through some things, if they have a question. So we would want to be the trusted resource and make the agent look good because they didn't have to know anything as far as property management. They didn't have to be the expert. But when their client called and had a basic question, they could just say, I know who to call. And it was amazing over the years as some of these investors built their portfolio, they immediately came to us.
And Greg, there's a lot of real estate agents out there that are practicing property management.
Oh,
They don't
yes.
know property management, but they're practicing it
Exactly.
and and not doing such a great job. I mean, I remember one story where some agent was just helping out one of their clients, and their client, owned a rental property, and the agent was helping the client out by having the tenant come to the agent's office and drop off the rent check every
Oh,
month.
oh,
And so that rent check would get dropped off at the front desk of the real estate company every month, and that agent would get that check and then give it to the owner. And that's all they were doing, was just helping out, the owner. Well, when it came time for that tenant who decided to sue the property owner for a matter, and they also named the real estate agent in the lawsuit, and, the real estate agent went to court and said, well, I'm not the property manager. They were just dropping off the check in my office and I was handing it over to the owner. And the judge said, oh, so you were collecting rent every month. Well, guess what?
collecting
That's
rent.
called property management.
Yep.
And that's, that is part of a property. That's one of the duties of property management, is collecting rent. So you are collecting rent, therefore you were the property manager, and you are responsible, for the, these damages as a result of the situation. So that agent learned a very hard lesson about practicing property management.
Yes, yes, yeah. The two other areas that I have seen repeatedly is, well, I'll go through and take pictures when the tenant moves out, and then provide that to the
Yeah.
owner. I'm going, are you kidding? Or they're in a bind, and I'll go over and meet a vendor and open the house up. Those are the two areas that I see all the time that they're doing. I go, that is property management under the law in Texas. So
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. And the brokers are scared to death of that because they know they have agents out there doing it, and it violates their E&O a lot of times, and they want that stopped to protect themselves and it can protect the consumer. So,
Right. And this is the time, in these difficult times when real estate sales have you know, dropped significantly in most markets across the country. This
right.
is a time where real estate agents don't have a lot of sales activity, so they start saying, "Oh, well, maybe I should manage some properties, and maybe I should pick this up here, or pick up property up there, or whatnot." And they don't know the rules, they don't know the laws, they don't know all of the ins and outs of actually managing a property, and trust accounting, and everything that goes into that. And it's a great opportunity for the quality property management companies, the quality property managers, to set themselves apart from folks who are just practicing at property management versus folks who are doing it professionally.
I agree. I agree. Well, and that going back to your point of, and I think that's a good point because that's the reality of what's happening. As things slow down, agents will look for other means of financial reward there, and property management is one of the first they go into. So I would recommend anyone who's trying to build their business go into these real estate companies and say, how can I help? How can I help educate? And be that
Yep.
resource, plus help the industry. I mean, there's a value there
Right.
that you help more agents, they're going to help more clients, and we build trust in the industry.
Yeah. Greg, another thing that we did a long time ago, that started a long time ago, and has worked really well over the years, is focusing on what information, what education can we provide to property owners out there. There's a lot of people out there, as we know, more people manage their rental properties themselves than choose professional property management. And so there's millions, literally millions of people out there that manage their own rental properties. They have one, two, three properties, and they handle them themselves. Well, but those people are not in the industry every day. They're not following the laws and the regulations and all of those things that need to be done. And so we started just recording videos and posting video blogs and vlogs and different information, different resources to our company's website, so that those folks could go and learn about property management, and learn about the eviction process, and learn about service animals, and learn about uh, you know fair housing rules, and learn about collecting rent, or learn about the move out process. And we just recorded all kinds of, and did it consistently and continually, you know informational videos where we were just sharing information with others, so that they could learn, and they could be, do better managing their own portfolios, along the way.
Well, Eric, as we start to wrap up the end of this broadcast, how would you like to recap, and what final words would you have for our audience?
Well, I mean, final words are, if you're in the property management business, 2023 is a great year to grow your company, and it's a great year to take advantage of the market conditions that are out there. And don't read the tea leaves, don't read the newspapers, don't listen to the naysayers that are saying everything's terrible and bad. This is a great time to be in the property management business. Get out there, talk to people, find people who know people and work with people that do investment properties. Put your company's name out there, put your name out there, offer information, be a source of information and truth for the property management industry in your market. And if you do that, you will grow your company this year and you'll have a great 2023. That's the main takeaway, I think, from our conversation today, Greg.
I think that's such a valid point, and something I hope our listeners don't underestimate. It's stop as much as you can listening to the other people out there, the news, everything else, that it's doom and gloom, and understand this property management for the next couple of years will be the silver lining in any cloud that's out there. And there's tremendous opportunity for growth. And the cautionary tale is build your internal part of your your processes and procedures as you do this, because if you get too far out ahead of this, you could be in trouble if you don't take the time to build your process and procedures.
Well,
Good
Greg,
deal.
I think you're right on that, and I know we plan to talk about the Certified Residential Management Company NARPM certification that relates to process and procedures here in an upcoming show. But having those processes and procedures in place to deal with the people that you bring in the company is so important, so important.
Good. Good. Well, I appreciate the time, Eric. Always good to talk to you. Always good information, and we'll look forward to our next broadcast.
Thanks, Greg. Good talking to you too. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.